Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Guiding You Forward podcast presented by Mountain America Credit Union. Today, we're talking about how to save money on your auto loan. And thankfully, Kristin Patterson is with us. Hi, Kristin.
Hello.
How do we save money on our loan? Do we just put as much money towards it as we can and pay it off sooner? What are your thoughts?
You know, there are a variety of ways to save money on auto loans. Obviously, if you have a cash injection, that can be beneficial. A lot of times if you're purchasing a used car and depending on the price range, if you've got cash, you can negotiate even a better deal. I think another way you can save money is just doing your research. There are so much online now about vehicle crash test ratings. There's so much online about vehicles that hold their value higher because they have, less maintenance requirements, depending on how long someone's had a vehicle. There are a lot of options out there that tell you why cars are better than others, depending on what you're looking for and what you're wanting to purchase. We also have a great resource here at Mountain America. If you go to macu.com, we have our new and used auto loan list, and there's a checklist that you can go through on there to kind of evaluate when you're purchasing a vehicle, especially a used vehicle, kind of what kind of things you should be looking for as you're out looking. And those can definitely save you money, if you test drive the vehicle and maybe you hear something or there's oil leaking, different things like that. But if you go to that website, it's really great because it gives you all of those options you can look for when you're purchasing a used vehicle to kind of say, hey, would this, be something that could save me money or end up costing me money? Getting pre-approved, I think that's a good option because that really helps you stay within your budget when you go out, which in my opinion helps save money.
Yes.
Because a lot of times you can get out there and like we said, it can be like, well, I just really want this vehicle and they can make it fit, but it may not be the best option. So if you're pre-approved, that can also help you save some money.
Okay.
I think negotiating, I'm a negotiator. My husband doesn't love to negotiate. And so, but if you're willing to negotiate, whether it's new or used, I think that's always expected. And that can definitely save you a significant amount of money when you negotiate in there.
What are your tips on negotiating? For those of us that aren't good negotiators, we don't like to say, we don't like confrontation, maybe.
Yeah, and that really is, it really depends on who you are, because some people aren't comfortable with it. I am one of those people that I'm always trying to get the most bang for my buck. And I think there are certain industries that actually expect you to negotiate, and the car industry is generally one of those.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to ask, hey, you're asking this. It's really important that you know the value of the vehicle you're looking at, which is why a pre-approval can save you money. If you get a booked out vehicle and you go and you look at it and they're asking $3,000 or $4,000 more than high book, that's something you have to really reevaluate. Whereas if you go in and you say, hey, I know high book is this, I'm willing to offer this. Negotiating is definitely an art, and it depends on how comfortable you are with it.
Maybe that's a whole other podcast episode.
It probably.
We'll have Kristin back for the art of negotiation.
It probably is.
Right.
But I think that's always a good option. I think the other thing you want to look at, that can save you money is if you look at maintenance, repair costs, gas costs, all those kind of things, and the long term, how much you're wanting to pay out there. That's something else you can consider when you're considering options for saving money.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, especially at a dealership, I think always read the fine print. Sometimes there can be things in there that maybe are unexpected or maybe not always disclosed. And so I think that's always something that you need to take into consideration is reading that fine print and asking questions about your purchase agreement and anything that you may not understand on it, so you understand what each charge is for and what benefit you're getting out of it.
Okay, so a few things just to review there on how to save money on our loan is cash, right? Which you used the term cash injection. I would love a cash injection. Where do we sign up for one of those, Kristin? But obviously that's going to give you more buying power. Then you said do your research, right? Get pre-approved. Don't be afraid to negotiate, even though it's terrifying. Just do it anyway. And then you also mentioned read the fine print, right? So those 5 things. Kristin, thank you so much for guiding us through the auto loan process.
Absolutely.
We sure appreciate your help, and we'll definitely have you on again, no doubt. And for all of you watching and listening, thank you for joining us as well. And we'll see you on the next episode of Guiding You Forward.